Hey everyone, it's been a while since I've dropped another video on my channel. Sorry I've taken like a little 2-month hiatus. I was really busy with college, finishing up the semester. I actually just finished it up just now. So I wanted to get back in the swing of things by dropping more reviews and more tutorials and more of the usual content that I would usually upload on my channel that you guys enjoy seeing. And if you guys have any video suggestions or anything you guys might want me to do, don't be afraid to list them in the comment sections down below and I'll be able to get right back to you. I want to welcome you guys back by saying welcome to another review. And today, as you can tell from the title, I'll be reviewing the Sengoku Bakemono. It's the latest yo-yo that dropped from Sengoku, and it's a oversized yo-yo, as you can see. I featured it in an unboxing not too long ago, and it seemed like you guys really wanted a review on it, and plus I just really wanted to give my thoughts on it and kind of just get this yo-yo more out there and just support my sponsor a little bit more. And as always, I'll go over 5 different sections of this review. They are history, construction, trick handling, playability, and my overall opinions on the yo-yos. And hopefully this review can help you make a purchase decision when you're trying to, pit this up against other yo-yos that might be of its similar size or whatnot. So yeah, let's get right into the review. So first, starting off is the history section. So as you guys may have noticed, if you kept up with like the current trend and the current cycle of yo-yos that's been coming out in the past, I'd say year, 6 months or so, you would see that a lot of manufacturers are making yo-yos that are like really huge, like the one you see right here. Some of you guys may have heard of the Turning Point Chameleon C3 Mega Crash, which just came out a couple of days ago, or I'm not sure if it's out already. I think C3 just showed a couple of pictures and whatnot on their Instagram. You've seen the CYW Sasquatch and how that's like a really huge oversized yo-yo. The 420 from ART, Sengoku's previous bigger model, which is the Massa Max, just to name a couple of models. A lot of these really big yo-yos are pushing past like the 60 millimeter diameter range, and that's sort of just like a trend in which the community is kind of going through right now. As you guys may know, the community goes through a lot of different cycles over the years. Like there was a point where everyone was doing undersized yo-yos, wide yo-yos. There's been a huge influx on bimetal yo-yos, been an influx on titanium yo-yos, if you guys remember a couple of years ago. And there's all these sorts of different cycles that the yo-yo community is going through, and huge yo-yos which kind of been pushing the boundaries of like what's really possible with yo-yo design. I mean, like these yo-yos are pretty huge. They're almost like off-string yo-yos. Like that are meant for like 1A, 5A, 3A, stuff like that. And the design for the Bakemono has kind of been in the works before the aforementioned yo-yos. The design was really mostly inspired by the Cold Fire Elemental, which is Sengoku's sort of, I wouldn't say off-brand, I would say more an experimental brand that Julio's is experimenting with right now. And really he thought that the best way that he thought that the yo-yo would have the best spin time, the best balance, the best stability is to kind of just widen or increase the width and diameter of that same design from the Cold Fire, and to pretty much make it bimetal and to work out all the kinks and stuff like that. And I really like this design over like a lot of other bigger designs, because a lot of other bigger designs are like more simpler. It's a lot more cheaper to manufacture if the designs are a little less complex, and don't want to really get into all of that, but you guys should know. And the Cold Fire, as you can see, it has a pretty intricate sort of, I wouldn't say blocky, I would say sort of a really angular, a lot of angular cuts, like a lot of yo-yos. Like a few yo-yos that you see have gone on, really like the Cold Fire, but except it's just bigger with metal rings. Alright, so now moving on to the construction section of the review. So in this section, I'm just going to go over the specifications of the yo-yo, give you guys a closer look at the yo-yo, and just overall talk about the design and everything that revolves around it. So here's what the Bakemono looks like. As you can see, it's a bimetal design. It has a 7L68 aluminum body with stainless steel weight rings. So you can see the weight rings doesn't recess all the way into the hub of the yo-yo. It only stops at a certain point, like about halfway into it. And as you can see, it's basically a bigger version of the Cold Fire Elemental. And there's an obvious size difference between both of them. And the Cold Fire actually fits really well into the cup of the Cold Fire, which is funny. And now moving on to the specifications of the Bakemono. The diameter is 68 millimeters, the weight is 85 grams, the width is 45 millimeters, the gap width is 4.75 millimeters. It uses Sengoku's katana response pads, and the bearing is a center track bearing. As you can see, it has a very minimalistic design to it. The engraving, it just says Sengoku right here in the middle of the hub. There aren't any extra engravings or anything else, which I think is a really good look that Sengoku's going for right now. Again, with the rings are pretty thin in width, but it's pretty thick to still provide that bimetal feeling. Let's talk about the shape a little bit. The shape reminds me, of course, a lot of the Cold Fire Elemental, because the Bakemono was actually based off of the design of the Cold Fire. And Julio just thought that this design would translate a lot better when supersizing it basically into a way bigger yo-yo. You can see the Cold Fire does have a lot more cuts on the rims, and this has a more smoother design right here on the rims, while still remaining a lot of those cuts right there in the gap of the yo-yo. And the cups are also pretty similar too. Again, you know, the Bakemono has more of a supersized wide out version, or stretched out version I should say, of the cup from the Cold Fire. And I'm also going to compare the Bakemono to the Dread G. The Dread G is pretty much the same size as a Dreadnought, I believe. This is just the Rebellion version, and you can see that the Dread G already is a pretty big yo-yo in terms of size and weight. And you can see that the Bakemono is still a lot bigger than the Dread G. The Dread G is about 80 grams, the Bakemono is 85 grams. And the really cool thing is that the Bakemono feels a lot lighter than the Dread G, even though it's 5 grams heavier. It's actually a pretty significant difference in the yo-yo world. But because of the way that the weight is distributed, and you know, it being bimetal, and you know, the design and everything, you know, the weight is pushed out a lot more to the rim, just making it feel a lot more balanced than the Dread G, whereas it being a lot of the weight is in these huge rims right here. As you can see that the rims from here are a little bit thinner as well. Alright, so now moving on to the trick handling section of this review. So in this section, I'll just highlight a few sections or a few categories of tricks that I think the Bakemono can handle the best, such as speed, tech, horizontal grinds, lacerations, that of sort. Pretty much just go down the list in which category I think the Bakemono can perform the best in. First, starting off with speed. The Bakemono is pretty heavy on the string, and it moves like, I wouldn't necessarily say a lot slower than most yo-yos, because it is an 85 gram yo-yo. But because of the design and how the way it's pushed out, reminding you that it's, you know, a much larger diameter with the yo-yo, the weight feels a lot more even, so it doesn't necessarily feel like an 85 gram yo-yo. It feels more, I'd say 68, 70-ish, I'd say. I would say that this moves comparably to like a lot of yo-yos, like in its size class, like, you know, its size and weight. The Bakemono can actually move itself like really quickly through speed combos. I find it like really maneuverable whenever you're doing like tight maneuvers or like really quick maneuvers, and really I find it really fun with the way that the Bakemono can just handle a lot of speed combos, rail combos, whatever you want to call it, and handle like a lot of those quick movements that I'm pretty sure a lot of you can do. The momentum and the inertia generated from the spin, because it's such a huge yo-yo with, you know, with it being bimetal, and you know, just with it, you know, weighing 85 grams, the momentum just kind of carries the yo-yo like throughout combos. And the same terminology with the momentum and the inertia can be used when describing like a lot of the other characteristics that goes into the Bakemono. Now moving on to tech or technical tricks. The Bakemono, with it being a much larger yo-yo, some tech mounts and maneuvers can be kind of difficult to pull off, just because of like the size. Like for me, sometimes when going into chopsticks, it can be a little hard depending on the angle that I go into it, and sometimes some movements can be almost impossible because of like how, you know, dense some, you know, combos and mounts can be. So that's one thing. I wouldn't necessarily say that that's a drawback of the size. You would just kind of have to be aware of that at all times, and kind of just I would say just do your best, you know, based on the size. But regardless to that, Stability is what it makes up for in speed and size. And again, mentioning the momentum and the inertia that the Bakemono produces, it's just really stable. Bakemono just spins with a lot of torque or momentum, as I previously stated. Because of that, the spin time is like, a lot more compared to, like, I guess, other monometals or the bimetals. Again, just because of like the size, weight, the energy that it produces when it's spinning, and just a lot of other reasons why it's like really stable, and that extra stability just really aids whenever you're learning tricks or you're working on tricks, or it's a really big aid. I'm moving on to grinds. Now, I don't really know how much to say about this. The anodization on the Bakemono is just as good as like really any other company that does like sandblasting, or whatever this anodization is called. I'm not really quite too sure. But it's really smooth when you want to just do like regular finger grinds, and especially it's like really amazing when you want to do finger spins because of the stability, and again, like all the other stuff that I said previously, it's just like really stable whenever you want to do finger spins. And this engraving in the middle of the yo-yo, it doesn't get in the way at all. Like, you just don't feel it at all. And I really like the way that Julio decided to do a new laser etching on the engraving and make it like really simple and minimalistic. It just keeps the design a lot cleaner, and I would say it can be an advantage to people who like to do a lot of finger spins and grind with a lot of, without a lot of engravings and design just kind of getting in the way of that. Now moving on to how the Bakemono handles hooks and lacerations. Now for me personally, I find the bigger design and the stability, or the extra stability, really helpful whenever you're trying to do hooks and lacerations. Like whenever you're doing like this regular Hidimasa hooks or Brentsols or like 2.0s, a lot of those multi-layered hooks that pretty much everyone does nowadays. I find it like really easy just hitting the gap of the yo-yo because of that extra size, and the stability comes in helpful too whenever like you might miss or it might hit the yo-yo sometimes. I find it really helpful that the yo-yo just doesn't outright spin out on you, right in the middle when you're trying to do, hooks, lacerations of that sort. But conversely, the added size can kind of be impeding to some people who do lacerations and hooks and stuff like that. It really just kind of depends on what kind of yo-yo you are and how you prefer things. And now lastly, I'll mention how the Bakemono handles horizontal. So pretty much everything that I said before, its stability, its really powerful spin, and its size, it makes it like really easy doing horizontal. And I find that sometimes the weight can drag the yo-yo down a little bit. It gets some used to whenever you're doing horizontal, because when you're doing off-plane tricks, the yo-yo can weigh itself down, or sort of just feel differently than when you're doing just normal tricks. So there's also that, and also because the yo-yo, it's a lot heavier. It takes a little bit more muscle, I would say, to maneuver the yo-yo around a little bit faster, or however you want it horizontal. But I would say the Bakemono handles horizontal fine like any other like V-shaped yo-yo, or like really any other yo-yo in its class. I would say the Bakemono is more playable in horizontal because of like the way it's designed, and the weight distribution is really important. A lot of the weight is distributed out to the rims, with it being bimetal. And you could obviously tell that, and that just aids even more when you're doing horizontal tricks. Alright, so now moving on to the playability section of the review. So the Bakemono plays unlike a lot of other yo-yos that I've tried in the past, or a lot of other yo-yos that other manufacturers make, and that's kind of given to its extreme size, weight, and just the way that the yo-yo looks overall. And I'm going to try to explain how the play feels. Now the Bakemono is heavy, there's no way getting around that. If you don't like heavy throws, then I'm not sure how you would like this yo-yo, but it feels almost like a rock. But try to imagine how a yo-yo would play as a rock. It's really maneuverable, and it could pretty much do whatever you want it to. And that's kind of the way I've been trying to explain a lot of these yo-yos that are really heavy, but yet because of its weight distribution, it plays really light, or plays like a yo-yo that's lighter than what the weight is actually advertised as. And in this case, the Bakemono is 85 grams, and I've mentioned it before how it kind of plays more 70, 68ish grams. The feeling of the yo-yo is translated differently to different people, because a lot of people have said that the Bakemono or other yo-yos similar to it in its class have played like really heavy, but yet it's like really maneuverable, and it's like really fast. But and again, conversely, a lot of other people say that it plays like a rock and it doesn't really do, what they want it to, and it's almost unplayable to some people who might not like heavy yo-yos in general. Bakemono reminds me a lot of the Turning Point Chameleon, and that not necessarily its its size or its weight or the way it plays, but just like its sheer size and just how ridiculously heavy or how ridiculously the stability is on the yo-yo. Two yo-yos pretty much move like a rock on the string, and how pretty much the two yo-yos move like a rock on the string, but have, a pretty good amount of maneuverability to it. Bakemono is a lot more playable than the Turning Point Chameleon. Of course, with the Bakemono being a bimetal, much of the weight is pushed to the rims. With its added weight and size, it affects the play pretty drastically. And you notice how the stainless steel rings, the actual bimetal part, is actually pretty thin. It doesn't recess all the way into the inner rims to the hub of the yo-yo like most inner ring bimetals, and that's because of even without the rings, the Bakemono already plays pretty stable, pretty heavy, but the ring just kind of has that added stability and it kind of drastically determines its play, and that's why the Bakemono feels pretty rim heavy. Try and just play with the Bakemono if you ever go to a contest or a meetup, or you have a friend or somebody that can have you try one. And I think it's one of those yo-yos where it's kind of a novelty in a way, but it's playable. It's a playable novelty, and it's something that I think a lot of people would enjoy and a lot of people would actually play with, comparatively to a lot of other yo-yos which are just novelty or kind of just show pieces, if you will. Another thing I forgot to mention is that Bakemono means monster in Japanese, and that's a pretty appropriate way to describe the yo-yo. It really is a beast, a monster of a yo-yo. Moving on to the last section of this review, and that's just my personal opinions. I think that the Bakemono is pretty much the perfect culmination of extreme size, weight, stability, as well as fun and playability with all of those combined. It's a really fun and a really extreme yo-yo, with its sense in it, and it's really playable too at the same time. When I would say regarding the Turning Point Chameleon, where that yo-yo is so big and heavy it's almost unplayable, and this just kind of fits within that realm of playable, and with it still being extreme and in my opinion really fun to play with. I mentioned before in the playability section, the Bakemono plays like a rock, but it plays much lighter than what the yo-yo is advertised as, which is again 85 grams. And it's a yo-yo that I feel that a lot of people, it's probably going to be pretty split as between how many people like really extreme and different yo-yos out there on the market and might want to try something different, to other people who might really only try yo-yos within the realm that they're familiar with, like if they're used to playing with lighter yo-yos or smaller diameter yo-yos or bimetals or whatever it may be. It's gonna be pretty split, but from the response that I've heard from a lot of other people, they're pretty excited and they're pretty happy and satisfied with with the Bakemono and the way that it turned out. Really good yo-yo for the value as well. The Bakemono costs I believe $130, $125, kind of just depending on where you buy it from. These are currently in stock on Yo-Yo Expert, I believe, as well as Yo-Yo Store Rewind, Yo-Yo Store USA, Spin Gear, Yo-Yo Nest if you shop on there. A lot of other yo-yo stores you could probably find this on. I'd say it's a really good value for the price, because yo-yos that had this amount of playability and this amount of novelty and fun, within its extreme size, the price, I would say I wouldn't say should have, but it could have been a lot higher, like in the $160, $70 range, because of again, everything else that I mentioned before. But the yo-yo is, I wouldn't say marked down, I would say, cheap. I would say less expensive comparatively to a lot of other yo-yos within its size and range. Also, the size and weight is something to really get used to if you've never really tried too many heavy yo-yos. I never really tried a yo-yo that's, you know, this big. Now I have, I would say, pretty big hands, and even this, you know, kind of just almost, you know, a little hard to grasp the entire yo-yo. And also within doing tricks and stuff like that, it can be a little difficult, you know, not gonna lie, when doing technical tricks. When going really fast, it kind of impedes you a little bit because of the weight and, you know, because of the size, but that kind of just goes all within, you know, the relative fun of, like, hey, it's an extreme size yo-yo, it's, you know, it weighs a lot, you know, it's huge, right? So, you know, that's just kind of where the fun comes in, really. And I would say this yo-yo is pretty competition ready too. You know, like, whoever you are, if you might want to, you know, play with this yo-yo for competition, I wouldn't say it would disappoint you. I would say it's, you know, it can handle all the stress with people who do competition, and it can definitely handle, like, pretty much any trick that you can do. And I could tell that this yo-yo can possibly be a favorite of, like, a lot of 3A and 5A players, you know, because of its size and weight and its stability. That would be really crazy to see, you know, 3A players playing with this yo-yo in the future. Okay, so that's pretty much the end of the review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And so yeah, again, sorry guys for the little hiatus and uploads, you know, lately. Just haven't really had the time, or really not much motivation to upload and consistently make videos. And I'll try to be on sort of a semi-autonomous upload, meaning that I'll probably upload, like, I would say once a week or something like that. I'm not quite too sure, you know, just gonna have to get more video ideas, and, you know, just more time, and also motivation also just kind of goes in, you know, to it all as well. So yeah, if you guys would like to pick up a Bakemono, the link will be in the description down below to just Yo-Yo Expert. You can find it, you know, a few other online stores, like, as I mentioned before, Rewind, USA, Spin Gear, you know, places like those if you guys might want to have a different shopping experience. And the Bakemono comes in a few different colors as well. It comes in a black with purple splash, and I believe that it also comes in another color as well. I'm not really quite, I really don't remember. I probably should remember this stuff. But yeah, so if you guys want to pick one up, you know, they're on sale right now. Not quite too sure how many is on sale in each website, but I assume that they'll probably go out of stock, and I'm not sure if Sengoku's gonna keep making more, or this might be like a, you know, a one-stock train. I'm not quite too sure, actually. Also, there is a new yo-yo coming out right now. I'm recording this video in the end of May, so if you guys know, Japan Nationals NBAC just passed, actually, you know, a day ago, actually, you know, when I'm recording this video. And Sengoku released a new yo-yo called the Oni at Japan Nationals. Received a lot of good feedback from a lot of people out there, and I'm pretty excited for this new yo-yo. It's competition ready, you know, no frills, no extra things like that. You know, a new model coming out of Sengoku. Yeah, I'm pretty excited for that. So stick around for that unboxing video and for that review whenever I might get it. I'll try to upload more. So if you have any questions, comments, criticisms, or concerns, just post them down in the comment sections down below, and I'll try to reply to you guys as soon as I can. And yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed this review. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'm out. Later, everyone.